As at 15th of February 2024, now listen to the current state of cost of living in the United Kingdom.
GDP figures showed the UK tipping into a shallow technical recession. Now focus now turns.
In the last few hours, there has been a lot of concerns as regards the UK economy, moving into recession. Now some news outlets, stated that Britain suffers longest hit to living standard since records began. Another one says that UK falls into recession with worst GDP performance in 2023 in years. UK tips into recession in blow to Richie Sunak, and this is one of the major concerns right now in the UK as regards the cost of living. And in my opinion, I think it's really important for people to be aware of the current state of the country and make adequate and financial, smart financial decisions, because with the way things are going, the cost of living in the UK is ridiculously increasing. And for me personally, just this morning, I got an email from my house agent saying that from next month, my rent is going to increase by £70. This is actually ridiculous, surprisingly, getting your rent increased, and this is the fact that you're already paying so much, and now I have to now start paying far more than what I was paying. And this is one of the major, increase that is currently happening in the UK. And, the economists has also confirmed that UK is currently has actually hit recession. It means that the cost of living is going to increase, and I'm going to share with you how this is going to affect you as an immigrant, how it's going to affect you as a non-immigrant, regardless of your status in the UK. I'm going to explain to you how this is definitely going to be of great impact to you, and how you can definitely, still stay afloat within this cost of living crisis. So if this sounds like something you'd like to know, don't go anywhere, keep watching to the end. And if you're coming across my channel for the first time, please do well to hit the subscribe button below. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Currently in the UK, you've got a job that pays your bills. I think this is the best time to cut down on those impulsive spending. And it's really sad that the cost of things are really skyrocketing. However, the salary still remains the same. But that's the reality. However, we need to be able to live through this situation. Now let's listen to what they have to say as regards the current recession happening in the United Kingdom.
As long as we possibly can.
For many across the country, this is the reality. So while the government can now say inflation has halved, actually, things are a bit more nuanced than that. You can see how prices have gone up. Double-digit inflation over there last year, coming down. The government wanted to get it to there, halving inflation. That would constitute halving inflation. Indeed, it's now through there, 4.6% CPI inflation. But that's the rate at which prices are rising. So inflation is the rate at which they're rising or falling. And look, they're still in that kind of red territory and quite high. And you get a sense of this, that lump, that increase in prices when you look at the Ofgem price cap. It went up very much. In the future, it's expected to remain around that kind of level. And just look at the difference between what there was before, so the pre-2022 average, and where we're going to be potentially next year. That is about 75% higher bills than we had before. Still, the Chancellor happy to bask in this rare bit of good news, even if it's not technically got much to do with him.
Aren't you just trying to take credit for something that's not actually your responsibility? I mean, it's the Bank of England's job to bring inflation down.
A year ago, markets were worried that borrowing and debt were out of control. We took difficult decisions to bring that borrowing and debt down. And as a result of that, we made it easier for the Bank of England to do their job.
Food prices are still rising at a double-digit rate, partly because a lot of the costs in farms and dairies like this one actually come back to energy.
We are over the peak, but those prices still remain higher than they were 2 or 3 years ago. Our costs are about 30% ahead of where they were in 2019 from a farm level, but we're also seeing volatility on fuel prices, electricity prices.
So a modicum of good news.
In my opinion, I just believe that the best way to actually live through this situation basically is to now start making good financial decisions. Being able to cut on excesses, being able to, the truth is with this whole increase in cost of things, one will still be able to survive, really, because the only challenge might be reduction in savings, and this might be the time to start looking at pushing some of your funds into investments instead of savings. And I think that was one of the major mistakes I've made in the last couple of years since I moved into the UK, and I think it's one other way this channel is going to be going towards. Aside from sharing immigration policies, the rules, and all of that, I'll also be sharing with you guys some investment ideas on how you can effectively harness your money to make you more money here in the UK, legally, of course. So yeah, I think that's one of the videos, or just as some of the information I'll be sharing going forward on this channel, because with the way things are going, you need to be able to push your funds into a particular portfolio or a particular investment that yields more income. I can remember when I moved into the UK and started saving, even till date, every single money I save into the account, into the bank, still remains exactly the same, no increase. However, inflation is actually beating the value of that savings down, and this is the same thing with so many people here at the moment. And the sad thing basically is most people actually don't have that understanding or the knowledge on how the investment process work in the UK. The S&Ps, the stock and shares, all of those investment options. I'll be sharing more videos on them in the future here on this channel. So if you haven't clicked on the subscribe button, please do now and join the amazing growing family. And listening to the news in the last couple of hours, it's actually evident that we actually don't know the major cause of the inflation or why the UK is slipping into recession. If you listen to these economists or professionals in the field and listen to what they have to say about the reason why the UK is slipping into inflation.
UK economic data and a snapshot into the current state of the country's growth. Now, prices rose less than forecast in the CPI print yesterday, while today's GDP figures showed the UK tipping into a shallow technical recession. Now, focus now turns, of course, to the Bank of England's next policy decision and the upcoming government budget on March the 6th. Now, first, to discuss today's GDP print and the steeper than expected contraction, we're joined by Sandra Horsfield, economist at Investec Bank, and Simon Kennedy, our senior executive editor for macro markets here at Bloomberg. So thank you both for joining us. Sandra, I don't know whether this makes it a little bit easier for the Bank of England, given all the expectations for cuts.
Certainly, I think there has been a lot of discussion about exactly how far they can go with rate cuts. Clearly, if we have a weak economy, that will help make the case that indeed it's not necessary to restrict the economy to the degree that we had beforehand. But we still have to take into account the labour market is a bit of a thorn in the side. If we are still looking at a tight labour market with high wage growth, the situation still isn't clear-cut, and it's not quite as an imminent prospect of rate cuts, unfortunately, as yet.
Yeah, and Simon, we've had money markets basically raise now the BOE rate cut wagers after this UK GDP myth.
Yes, it went up to 78 basis points. I think it was settled at about 76 basis points. So about 3 cuts this year, looking at an August for a start, which is way later than the May that traders were pricing in just a few weeks ago. And so certainly the concern is on the inflation side. Can that inflation come down, that last mile that we've all been talking about? And certainly there's some concern that even with data such as today's, that won't be happening as quickly as some had hoped.
I mean, it's tough, Sandra, if you're the Bank of England governor right now, and it was interesting in his last meeting that he wouldn't even commit to a cut the next time around, right? Is this because the situation is very unknown in terms of inflation? Is it the last mile, or is it just that it's actually not in a linear kind of trajectory?
Listening to them, it's actually very difficult to actually pinpoint the reason why this is happening right now in the UK. However, this is just basically to create an awareness so people are actually aware of situation of things. If you have a very good car that serves you well and you're planning to go get that bigger car that's going to increase your cost of living, then this might actually be a good idea to put a pause on that desire and wait until things settles down so you don't unnecessarily increase your cost of living in the midst of recession in the UK. It's really not going to be a good idea. And also for those who are looking at coming to the UK, this is also an awareness that make sure you come prepared financially on every side so you don't get stuck or struggle as soon as you get into the United Kingdom. So I hope you find this video resourceful. If you do, please click on the like button, and if you're coming across this channel for the first time, do well to hit the subscribe button to join the amazing growing family. And my returning subscribers, thank you guys for being here. I really do appreciate you guys. So this will be the end of this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you.